Good day, and welcome to Transport Fever. I'm your host Shen from youtube.com/shenryyr2 and twitch.tv/shenryyr. Today we're going to hop into a free game and try to cover the basics on how to get started with your business in a free game. I'm going to leave all the settings on default, including a square world, medium difficulty, 1900 start, medium hilly terrain, and medium world size, and Europe scenario. We're going to randomize our starting seed and see what we get. Medium hilliness is pretty varied. I've had maps that have mountains all over the place and some pretty nice valleys, and I've also had some maps that have no water at all and just a plateau somewhere with some hills. It's a decent amount of variety on the map generation. However, the map is lacking in some areas. The random map generator cannot make islands. Like, you won't have a coastal area and then just an island out there. The random map generator also won't do some other, fancy things that you might see in other random map generators. What it does is it makes a square or a rectangle of land, and then it applies rivers and occasionally a lake like this. That's what it does. And there's never any isolated water. You always have a lake that's attached to two rivers, one in, one out. In any case, we're going to cover how to get started with your business, specifically how I like to get started with my business. And I like to start with an industry because I feel industry is a more stable way of beginning your games. Industry provides you with a good amount of income and allows you to do passengers or further industry options later in the game. And if you're learning the game and you want to know how to get better at starting your free play, then this is right for you. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the contour map, contour lines, because this allows us to see the difference in height across the map. This thick black line is sea level, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 contours, and then a thick contour for the fifth one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a fifth one, a 10th one actually, that's also very thick. So as the heights go up, you can see more and more thick contour lines. And occasionally you'll see some actual mountains in here, like this is a pretty tall mountain. The way I like to start my games is with an industry that's either a farm, like this. Actually, that's not a farm, that's a food processing. Either a farm like this, or a crude oil like this. Now, it's not enough just to have your starting resource. It also needs to be next to a city. So this is next to a city, that works. And you need to have a target factory. Like this has a target factory over here, crude oil into fuel. If you want to know what you can start or what industries the city will take tools, bread, and goods at its commercial district. You can see your commercial district is the blue area here. And it'll take bricks, machines, and tools at its industrial district, the yellow area here. I like to start with either food or fuel because there's tons of cities on the map, and the cities will always take food and fuel until they're full. So we can see we have some options for fuel, which is nice. There's crude oil and fuel here, crude oil and fuel here, crude oil and fuel here. Yeah, there's some decent options here for crude oil and fuel. The other option is livestock into food. Your farms will produce two different things, grain or livestock. They don't really care which one you use. They will grow and expand the farm based on what you use. They don't really care which product you use. They just care that you use it. Livestock into food is a good one because livestock is carried in boxcars and food is also carried in boxcars. So you can carry livestock to the food factory and then bring food back on the same train instead of needing a separate train for the food. All right, where is a good starting spot? I don't like starting with bricks, by the way. Stone into bricks is another option for early game because you can see cities accept bricks right away. But the problem with stone into bricks is your train needs gondolas to carry the stone, but then it needs stake cars to carry the bricks. So your train actually needs different kinds of wagons to carry the different products, and that's not good for the early game. When your business is just getting started, you want to have one train with one type of wagon so that you can make the maximum amount of profits. The more wagons you add to your train, the slower they get. So if you do like 10 stone wagons and then 10 brick wagons on the same train, it's going to be very slow. You can do it though. All right, I think this fuel line is a little too short for my liking, so I'm not going to do that one. However, this fuel line looks ideal. So let me talk about why this fuel line looks ideal. One, the crude oil, the raw resource, is right next to a city. That's important. Two, the raw resource has a target factory that is at about the same elevation. And we can see it's at about the same elevation because this one is below the first contour line. And this is also below the first contour line. So they're both at right about sea level. And lastly, the route that you would take, the distance traveled, is relatively uncluttered, which means the rails would be very much quick. The train would be at full speed a lot of the distance. And that is probably the most important thing. If your train can reach full speed and stay there for about half of the journey, then you're going to make more money than if your train, let's say we only went to this refinery here. Bringing a train to this refinery would not get up to full speed. Or if it did, it would be there for like 2 seconds. But along this route, the train would get up to full speed and stay there for a good amount of time. And that's important for making money. So the plan here is to haul crude oil in tank cars to the refinery and then haul fuel in tank cars back to the city of Burton Latimer. Now, I'm not going to drop off the fuel directly. I'm going to bring the fuel into this city with trucks. You can drop it off directly. You can put a, let's see, where do we go? We got our industrial station. You can put a freight station here in the city. Find the industry section right there. Put a freight station in the city like that, and you can just drop the fuel off right there, and that'll work just fine. However, and that's how I used to start my games. But I've had a lot more fun bringing the fuel in on trucks. What I've been doing lately is this. I put in a rail station here for my crude oil. Make sure that hooks up properly. And the way you can tell if you've hooked it up properly is if you click on your station, does the resource highlight? Yes, it does. If it highlights, that means it's connected. And then we need a station over here at the fuel refinery. Similarly, just toss that in. Maybe like this. Do you want it on this side or that side? I want to leave room so I can put in a turnaround loop. I guess I can do that over here. We can move the road a little bit. Station like right there. That should work. Make sure it's connected properly. Click on it. Yep, that's connected. Perfect. Hook it up back to the road. All right, so here's our turnaround. There we go. Let's get our rails going. And this route is almost entirely flat. This is great. Anytime you come across a road, destroy the road, then drag your rails, and then put the road back. Why? Why do you do that? Because whatever you put down second, in other words, whatever comes later, will match its height to the existing object. So this road has to match its height with the rails instead of the other way around. And it's perfectly fine for a road to match the rails height because we don't care what travels on the road, but we do care what travels on the rails. So you don't want your rails to go up or down to a road and then back up or down to where the rail height's supposed to be. It always looks and feels very jarring on the train. Next, we need this side. We're going to loop around this way. Again, remove the road. And then put the road back in. What if we go this way? Is that going to work for you? There you go. Whatever. As long as the road's happy, I don't care. Then we need to make a little bridge here. And since we're going for... I think I'm going to go for the expensive bridges. You can see the different bridges here are 60 kilometers an hour wooden bridge, 90 for a stone bridge, or steel bridge at 120. I'm just going to go for the 120 steel because we're going to have some faster trains here in a couple years. So we're just going to go ahead and do the faster bridges. All right, blow up the road. Let's get through here, and then we're going to come down. Actually, I guess we can just go straight. I was going to say we can come down towards the coast of the lake here, but we can actually... how's the contour here? Contour is not that bad. Yeah, we'll just go straight. That's fine. Put the road back in. Notice how the road has to go up to where the rails are. That's why I didn't want to put the rails through the road. If the road's already there and the road's like flat on the ground, then the rails are going to just go straight down to the road and then back up. But yeah, it always looks jarring when you put down that second thing. The road here just, looks weird. And the rails would have looked really weird if we did that. All right, so one thing I should mention is that I'm doing 2 rails because I plan on having multiple trains on the route. If you're going to have multiple trains on the route, you could use 1 rail and have passing lanes for the trains to pass each other going the other directions. The problem with that is it requires a lot of work on your part to get the timing down about where to put the passing lanes. I don't think it's worth the time to put in that amount of work just to put in a passing lane. It's much easier, and it's not that expensive to put down some more rails. Especially in an area like this where it's mostly flat, the rails aren't that expensive if it's mostly flat. Oh, I messed that up, didn't I? This game doesn't have auto parallel tracks, but it does allow you to drag tracks alongside one another, which makes for easy paralleling. There we go. So this side's hooked up with the loop. Looks good. And the other side should also be hooked up. Let's get the roads back in. Yeah, I usually spend some amount of time here deciding where to put all the early game stuff. We are not halfway done here, but I will get this going with just 1 city before we branch out. Okay, that looks good. Next thing, I'm going to put in some signals. I should probably talk about why I'm putting things in a loop. So the reason we put things in a loop here, the reason I do things in a loop, there's another way to do this. I guess we have enough money I can show you here. There's another way to do this, which is just put in a little split like that. And then you put your second lane this way. And then if you use signals here, you can say, hey, trains that are coming into the station, just stop there. And say, just stop here. So the trains that are coming into the station will stop here, and they'll wait for an existing train to come out and leave. The problem with that is that means the time that the train is in the station and on this rail, before the end of the train leaves here, this train still has to wait. If you have a train waiting here, you have to wait for the train to finally leave all the way over here before you can finally move in. However, if you do it differently, if you do this, which is called roll in, roll out, or row, then the train will come in this way, stop, and then it'll leave this way, which means it's not having to come back on the same route, which means that train that's waiting here at the signal, I will have a signal here. The train that's waiting here at the signal, make it one way. The train that's waiting at the signal only has to wait for the train to leave this part of the track. Once the tail of the train leaves this part of the track, then this guy can move in. It's better than having him turn around right here. However, if you're limited on space, especially if you're working inside of a city, then just straight out coming back on the same track for a little while is probably fine, especially if you're pressed for space. But I'm not pressed for space here, so I'm going to do this row setup. Let's put in some signals here. There's a signal when you're leaving the station. We'll put one on the other side as well. Going this way. Yep. Okay, right there. Right there. And I'll do some tutorials on how signals work and everything, but I'm not going to do that right now. Right now, I just want to get this up and running so you can see how I do my early business. So we can make a decent amount of money and start worrying about other stuff later on. But yeah, this video is not going to be about signals. It has signals, though. It just happens to have them. Okay, make that one way. And now let's go ahead and buy a train or two. And yeah, I'll definitely do some videos on, why I do these weird setups that I do. People think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. Get my depot. All right, the train we're going to use, we have 4 choices, right? Go to locomotives. We have the Borsig, 45 kilometers an hour top. The Prussian G3, 50 kilometers an hour top. The Prussian T3, 40 kilometers an hour top. Or the PLM 220, 60 kilometers an hour top. Tell you what, that PLM sounds pretty good. So we're going to start off with him. And we're going to get some wagons. Now for this case, we are doing crude oil. So we need these wagons right here. Tank wagon holds crude oil, as you see. And we are not going to change the configuration. You have the choice here of changing configuration to say, hey, I want it to haul only this, or only this. But no, we're going to leave it on automatic. This is what allows it to haul one thing one way and then a different thing the other way in the same cargo wagon. How much do we want to carry on here? If you click on your train title here, it'll pop up the train window. And down below here, below this where it says in depot, start buying these things. It says we haul 35 crude oil in here. Let's bring that up to, let's say 50. 50 is a good number. And I would like to take out some more loans. And I want to get some more trains on this route. Let's start out with 4 trains on this route. Take out some loans. And yeah, this little button here duplicates whatever trains are in here, which is really cool. All right, so that's all 4 trains purchased. Let's give it the line, which is going to be from here to there. There you go. That's the line. So those guys will space themselves out. I'm not going to go over too much about what the signaling there is for. They'll space themselves out. So now what's going to happen? The crude oil gets picked up here, goes all the way over here, dropped off, and then the fuel gets picked up here and comes all the way back. And the fuel gets dropped off right here at the same station. But that's not where we want it to go. That's not the final destination. The final destination is here in Burton Latimer, because that's where the fuel is accepted. So now we're going to get some trucks and drop off the fuel here. So if we go to the Road tab and select Industry, we're going to put down a truck station in the Industrial section, which is the yellow area. Now you can, at the moment, when this video is being recorded, which is December 27th of 2016, as of today, you can drop off goods at bus stops. I don't recommend it because I assume that's going to be removed at some point because it doesn't sound normal. It doesn't sound proper. It sounds like a bug. So I'm going to use proper truck stops. And you need one truck stop to drop it off, and you need another truck stop to pick up the goods. So we're going to pick up the goods. Let's bring this road over. And let's set this station to have 2 connections. There we go. And we'll bring this road on down and put a truck stop right there. Okay. Now we need a truck depot, and let's purchase some trucks. So our choices for trucks are the horse wagon, the horse cart, or the Constat. And the Constat holds the most, so we're going to go with the Constat. Start out with maybe 10. The number of trucks you're going to need is based on the distance. 10 looks like it might be a little too few. Let's go with 15. There you go. Have a party. So these trucks are important. These trucks will provide demand for fuel. The demand for fuel comes from these yellow buildings, the industrial buildings. See, job section, fuel. So that's where the demand for fuel comes from. Without these trucks, that demand for fuel would never make it to this station, which means we would never actually haul any fuel here. So with these trucks in place, that creates a demand for fuel right here at this truck stop, which creates a demand for fuel at this train station, which means we'll actually start getting some fuel over here. It's going to take some time for that fuel to actually appear, though. So let's unpause and let things go. There's all the little trucks doing their thing. Go on, little trucks. Here's our trains coming in. We'll paint them different colors so I can tell them apart. Come on, don't be shy. These locomotives look amazing. Look at that. Look at that. The PLM 220. Such a nice looking locomotive. Come on. Oh, look at that. We already have some crude oil. Nice. And this is typically how I get started. I get started with one, either fuel or food train. And that's it. And the next thing I would do is start running some buses from the city which I started in, Burton Latimer, run buses to the nearby cities. So one bus to Aylesbury, probably with like 10 buses or 20 buses, and another route to Ponton with Worth, probably put 20 buses on that. And that might be it, because those are the only 2 cities that are like right next to us. So yeah, I would run 20 buses to each. And I would also put down some additional truck drop-offs so that I could send fuel up here too. There's no reason to only send fuel to one city. So let's go ahead and put down a bus stop. Oh, and he takes out some loans, huh? Put down a bus stop here. Find out where the truck stop should go. Put the truck stop down. Right there. And same thing up here. Beep, beep. Anytime you hear that beep, beep, it means a new vehicle's been released. New tram available. Cool. And let's put a bus stop down as well. Alrighty, now we need to connect up the cities with roads, because there's no road that connects these cities directly, and I'd like to have a direct connection, so let's just go straight across here. Come on, then. Come on, then. There you go. And over here. Actually, that connect. Yeah, look at that. That road's got a direct connection over there. Okay, so the last thing we need is a truck connection, which should be isolated from the bus connection. You don't want the trucks and the buses on the same route because they'll take up each other's space. So let's give another route this way for trucks. That'll work. And we'll put the truck depot here. And another one that goes up to Poynton. So let's run a road this way. Take some more loans. And it seems like a lot of work to put down two different roads, one for trucks and one for buses, but it does make a difference. Okay, good enough. Now we need to purchase some trucks. Oh, forgot my depot. Purchase some trucks. Let's get like 20. Actually, let's get like 25. Okay, get some more. Started at 40, so we're going to go to 65. There we go. Start here and go here. Okay, and let's get some buses. So our choice of buses are 4 passengers, 5, or 6. Go for 6. Oh, did I put in the bus stops here yet? Oh, I didn't put in the bus stops here yet. All right, bus stops in this city. Well, one of them is going to go that direction, so we'll put the bus stop like right here. And the other one's going to go that direction. Let's put it here. Okay. We started on number 65, so we'll go, let's say 30. Let's say 40 buses each. Yeah, 40 buses each. So we started on 65. We're going to go to 105. That may sound like a lot, but these buses don't carry that many passengers, so it's really not that many. And they're also very slow. All right, so we got 40 buses on each. There you go. And that's it. That is how I start my games. I start with one industrial route, which has potential for a lot of capacity. Looks like we could use more trains on this route, actually. What's our frequency on the route? 3 minutes? Yeah, let's bring that down. But yeah, I choose a route that's going to have pretty decent potential capacity. That also has 50, right? That also has a long distance, well, long-ish, so that our trains will be at top speed for a good long way. Oh, how much are they? 2.63 million? Okay, that's fine. So we got 2 more trains to add to the route. And also importantly, very, very little difference in height so that the contour lines aren't working against your train. The more changes in height you have, the slower your trains will go, which means you make less money. But yeah, that is my initial setup. I like getting buses early and trucks early. Don't worry about this initial clog. This is just at the very, very, very beginning. It'll be like this. Once they've started moving to the other cities, like you can see some of them heading out here, then this clog will go away. And same thing applies for the trucks. Yeah, I like getting one industrial route set up along with passengers and freight via trucks and buses. This will allow all three cities to grow because all three cities are getting some of their needs met. So long as you're getting some of the needs met, your cities will grow. If you are not getting the needs met, your cities will not grow. Or if they do, they'll grow very, very slowly. Anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Shen, you have been you. Come back next time for more tutorials here in Transport Fever. Have a great day. Hey everybody, welcome back. I just wanted to show you a little clip of what this looks like after we fast forwarded a few years. You can see we're making 2 million profit in 1904, 4 million profit in 1905, 5.3 million in 1906. We're making a lot of money, repaying almost all of our debt already, which means we're ready to expand our business. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that this start has worked out quite well. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.